Let's imagine a world where there are no dashboards, there is no data. How do you prove to an executive team that your marketing is working?
Are you getting clients or not?
That's it, period.
That's it. Marketing exists to make sales easier and to make sales happen.
Okay.
Not to serve sales, the people of sales. We're not servants, and I don't believe in that. But at the end of the day, if you are getting clients, your marketing works. Or at maybe some point you have like a super viral product, like a PLG thing, but that's very unlikely. So if you're getting clients, and the other way is just go ask your sales team. If they're not busy, then your marketing probably isn't working. If they're having bad sales call, then your marketing probably isn't working. But if they're happy, then it's probably because they're getting a lot of meetings and they're really good meetings, which means the marketing's working.
I think we're tired of the conversation around content and ROI, but we're about to have it. So,
Got a hot take for you.
So give me
I've
take.
never done content ROI in my entire life in career.
So how do you communicate the value?
Because how would you possibly come up with both you cannot quantify the investment or the impact in full. So if you think about like how much are we spending, it's like, okay, so we're talking about like headcount, we're talking about like time, we're talking about resources. Like how do you actually capture all of that and put that into a number that is going to be like linear that you can track over time? The effort is not worth the number. And then when you think about the output, it's are you getting sales, but there's also mind share. You cannot measure mind share. You can barely measure sentiment. I know there's probably some, maybe you work at a company that can, but even then, what you can measure is only parts of different pies when it comes to the impact of marketing. So the ROI to me was always a pointless activity, and instead it's like, let's just measure progress.
Against what?
Against our goals, against where we were this time last year, this time last week. Like if you're, like growth is not always going to be up and to the right, but over a month or 3 month period, like if you're not going up and to the right and growing, then something's wrong. Like it's very obvious. It's very easy. A lot of times people are either looking at the wrong thing or they're looking at a number that doesn't tell the story that they need to tell their boss or the board. So what do? You either, I'm not saying people lie, but you can kind of shape that number, or you can pick other numbers that tell the story that you need. But the problem is when you jump around through different metrics to tell that story, your story stops making sense. So to me, it's all about progress. Like we're even talking about like my own stuff. It's like I don't expect to get better notably or measurably every single week. But month over month, there should be growth. And if we didn't grow and if we're not going towards the number, we should have the story because we should understand why.
Yeah.
We should be like, we tried these 3 things and damn it, they all 3 didn't work. Okay, great. So we learned this. We actually learned. So I don't think you like win or lose, you either win or learn. And sometimes you actually do both.
Yeah. One of the things we talk about with our clients is like, are we going up and to the right? And if we're not, why? And then to your exact point, like, let's try 1 or 3. Typically, if we're running like 1 experiment with them over like a 30-day period, and then add it to 90. But it's literally like, is this moving us up and to the right? And that's it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, what are we really talking about here? So that makes
your business is growing or it's not. Your sales are working or it's not. Your marketing is working or it's not. Any gray area is probably someone bullshitting in.
You have $5,000.
Okay.
You can only pick 2 channels for your marketing. What do you do?
Do you want to give me any context? Because I don't want to start with depends.
No context.
No context.
Like literally, it's like I wrote you $5,000. I said.
Okay, so
the goal is pipeline.
Okay, so I just told you that I don't believe in ROI, but there are 2 channels that I believe give you the best return for your dollar. Okay. Now that doesn't mean I'm measuring all of it, but like so to me, you need to be found. So people need to be able to find you, whether they're looking for you or not. And 2, you need to have a direct relationship with people that will buy from you today and tomorrow. So I am going to invest in organic and some paid LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's one of my answers, organic and paid. So if you need to hire a writer for like, I don't know, a couple grand and then a little bit of paid, and I would hire the same writer to spin up a newsletter. And the reason why is when people can find you via LinkedIn, I'm assuming, B2B, when people can find you via LinkedIn, that's going to grow your audience there, but it's a rented audience. You every time you post, you're rolling the dice hoping the algorithm shows it to your following, and you can't control the people not in your following that it shows you to. So it could be relevant or irrelevant people. But when you have an email list, like it is literally the most valuable part of my business other than my IP. Because every time I have an offer, if I want to, send you content, tell you that I'm at an event, send you this video, or sell something to you, I can show up right in your inbox and I'm a welcome guest, right? Not hoping to find me. You've invited me in, so I know when you see my name, assuming you're not too busy, with your daily life, you're going to click that email, you're going to read what I have to say, and I'm going to get undivided attention. So that's how I would spend my cash.
So you spend your cash to be known on LinkedIn and drive them to your newsletter.
Yes, which is the hub of my marketing, and then I can sell them from there.
What are B2B marketers getting wrong about content right now? Because we're going timely since we're at Southbound.
The thing I keep hearing more and more, and I feel bad because my SEO viewers are going to hate this, people are spending $10,000 a month on SEO. And they're telling me, yeah, heavy sigh, and they're telling me we're not getting leads.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying SEO is broken, but I think the way people search has changed and the way people make decisions have changed. So SEO I think is great for high intent. I'm not even saying like low funnel. I mean high intent. I am searching for a podcast agency, for example. Yeah. So if I search podcast agency, and I know that's not all that you do, but like you need to pop up or you're not even having a chance to sell, right? So I think that's great. But the challenge is people are doing low intent SEO blogs. So like how to create a podcast, how to create a podcast title. And then they're capturing that attention. People are landing on that page, and then the CTA is like, buy our service or take a demo. And it's like, they're not there yet. They're not there in that kind of like stage of awareness and buyer journey. So they're spending thousands of dollars to either be shown up in these overviews or to get this attention, but it's impossible to convert. And so instead I say that you should, and this is what I do for my clients, is swap out that CTA of like a demo or to buy, and instead put in, follow us, subscribe. Here is a free guide. You're trying to find ways to get them to engage with you and your brand via content. And then later when they move in market, hopefully you're the first one they think of.
Let's talk about audience growth for just a second. So we talked about going up and to the right and showing signal that there's life here. Mm-hmm. But what would you say to an executive who feels like the audience isn't getting big enough fast enough?
I would say first, let's look at who your audience is right now. So the cool part is you can go into LinkedIn, Shield, there's a bunch of places, and you can say, well, first of all, let's just say 5,000 people are seeing your content, like a LinkedIn post, right? So one is 5,000 people is actually a tremendous amount of people, right? So any event we go to is like 500-600 people in the stands. There's like, 4 or 5 times that are seeing your content. So I think the first thing is like you're actually getting quite a bit of more views than you're used to. The other thing is like, who are we actually trying to target here? So we want people in the audience who are making or influencing buying decisions. So let's look at the demographic and say, great, if we're consistently getting in front of those right people at 5,000, that means that the content is resonating with the right people, but it's not built in a way to reach more people. And there's a very different approach from what I kind of say is like reach versus teach. So reach is saying publishing certain content that's going to have a more broad appeal, even if it's not super niche to the actual person who's like signing a check. But that's okay, because even if someone who knows you and is familiar with you, likes you, they might not be the one to buy from you. But what if they hear someone who needs a podcast agency, or they hear someone that needs a productivity tool? They're going to introduce you, right? So it still has like a really big effect. And so I think like one, have a reach strategy, make sure that the content you're creating has that appeal. And then also don't get over indexed on, views and likes, because a lot of times the content that helps you get seen isn't what helps convert. So that's where the teach comes in, where it's like, show the proof, show your process, show your IP, and that way people start to trust you. And when you get that 1-2 punch, that's when you'll start to, one, convert more of your audience, but you'll grow it at the same time.
How do you know when somebody is starting to trust your brand?
Oh, it's a good question. They show up on sales calls telling you, hey, I've been following you for a long time, or, oh, I listened to your podcast, or, hey, I just read last week's newsletter. And that's actually happened to me for the first time. I was talking about AI more openly, and really I just shared, hey, here's what I've been doing for the last 90 days. I was very skeptical to start, and now I've accepted it, and I've embraced it, and here's what I built. 2 days later, someone got on a sales call with me, and they didn't put this in the notes, but when they joined, they're like, hey, I've been following you for a long time, and I saw your thing about AI. We want that. Can you help us? So she probably trusted me before that article, but that was the thing that pushed her, over the edge and wanted to come talk. So they will tell you. Yeah.
So I think you sit in a really special seat, because I think of you as like creator turned founder. And so your audience kind of came with you, and you've been able to develop your products and your services around serving those people even deeper. But taking it to the lens of like, I'm a company brand, and I'm sitting in my marketing seat or the content seat or whatever, and they know that they need to build trust. Like, they believe in that. They know that that's the social currency that's going to help them drive pipeline long term. But they have quota and pressure. How does somebody navigate like the long term while still communicating what they can do in the short term?
I think that there's just a lack of balance and intentionality in the strategy. So the first thing is coming up with, is this content that we're creating? Like, look at your content calendar. If you put like, anyone else's logo, could they be doing it as well? Like, is it really differentiated or not? And the second thing is like, we were talking about this earlier, like, does this have real high relevant value now? Like, this is something that I'm struggling with today in my job, and you're going to help me in a way that no other company is helping me. And then 3, are you telling a story? Like, is there some story wrapped in there? And I think you go in reverse order, it gets like even harder to find. It's like stories are incredibly, like, there's not that many stories really being told. Then you think of the content, B2B content gets called boring or bland, but software, for example, where I sell and my clients are, is actually very interesting. It's actually very innovative, and there are real problems being solved. The problem is a lot of times the marketing team maybe doesn't have that expertise or the access to those client transformations, to those use cases, so they're stuck using like AI. And AI is great for generalities and breadth, but not really for depth. So now it's like, well, why would I really trust someone who doesn't show up with stories that engage me and they're not really that interesting? And then the stuff they do say is like kind of generic and I can get it anywhere. It's like, yeah, no shit, your content's not really working and growing the business because it's not moving people. It's not captivating them in any way, shape, or form. When you think about the brands we love the most, it's very rarely the product that they sell. Yeah, if you like Nike, maybe the shorts are a little bit cut a little better than Adidas or whatever, but Nike's ads make you feel something. And maybe Adidas make you feel less, or it doesn't feel as relevant to you. So when you go to the store and you need something, you think of the brand that has that mind share and that emotional resonance.
Yeah. Well, and story actually has the power to change your brainwaves because it connects your memory to the emotion.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really what you're getting at is like, how can you create content that is memorable because it's connecting with them on an emotional level?
The best content changes the way people think and act. Sometimes all at once, sometimes one then the other. But if you can change and shape the way that people think about a problem, they will assume that you have the best solution and they will come back from you.
I want to go back to a question I was asking you and Jen earlier.
Okay.
Because it's like scratching at the back of my brain. You're having fun. You're being creative. You're doing stuff that's outside the box of what people are like even thinking to do. Mm-hmm. And so how do brands who are like, I want to stand out, I want to do stuff different, but maybe their team just doesn't have those ideas or talent, because there is like people creating, not all people on video should be creating video.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, levels of talent is always going to be there. I think the real blocker isn't necessarily as much talent as people think. It's creative freedom. So are you in a place like creativity needs safety? The reason this is because I'm a dad, I know this, like the kids that are the loudest are actually the most safe. They feel safe to be themselves, to be loud, to run and joke. Yeah, me too. Oh my God, I guess I'm crushing as a dad because my kids are animals in the house. Luckily, outside they're a little bit better at other people's houses. But I'm like, that means it's actually a great sign of emotional safety. Same thing happens at work. We need to feel safe that we can have big ideas. I can share big ideas. And even if you're like, let's say you're running the meeting, like, if I come up with a big idea that you don't like, am I going to feel embarrassed? Are you going to make me feel bad? Are you going to shut me down in a way that I don't want to bring new ideas to the next meeting? And so, again, to the teams I advise and when I was in house, is like, I'm trying to always cultivate a place of like big ideas and weird ideas, because an idea that's wrong today could be right tomorrow. It's just misplaced. So I think the kind of like the advice I guess I would give is like, how can you foster as much creative freedom as you can, and also be okay to say, hey, if we take 4 creative bets this year, you really only need 2 to work. Don't burn a bunch of cash on the wrong ones, but like I've burnt $20,000 to $5,000 on videos that never published. Yeah, because you have to take risks, and then when you see it in publishing or editing, you're like, yeah, it's just not there, I guess. And it's easier, and it's not easier, it's harder, but it makes more sense to just cut it, kill it, and move on than to try to like invest more time and energy to make something that's not great decent and then publish something decent. Then your execs and your board are like, why would we give him freedom? This sucks. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's all about just like having that freedom, and also like, you're asking me about on stage. If I'm having fun on camera, the video is going to be better. If I'm having fun on stage, people are going to be more engaged. People don't want the smartest people in the room. They want to be entertained a lot more than we acknowledge in B2B.
Wait, so you should have fun creating content?
100%. If you're feeling forced, then it sounds obvious, but in the right context, it's not obvious. And it's like, and a lot of times too, when you have too much stuff to do in a day. If you're like Devin, we have 40 videos we have to do today. I'm going to be here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to here, and then I'm going to tank. Yeah. And then those last few videos are going to be a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, a lot of times in client meetings, they'll be like, this should actually be one of the most fun meetings you get to come to.
Yes.
Because we're talking about creating content. Like, this is not you're not in trouble. Like, we're just supposed to be having fun. So what do founders get wrong when they're building a brand?
I think the biggest misconception is that brand equals leads fast. Right? Founders, and I get it, like now that I run my own company and I've reported to a lot of CEOs, the goal is to, like, all they care about is hit the revenue goal because they have investors who are going to pressure them every 3 months, right? So, like, I understand that. So they're trying to beeline, but you can't really take creativity and beeline to a result because that's just not how the creative process works. So what I try to get them to understand is when we're creating a brand, I want you to think of it as a reputation. When have you met someone for the first time that you didn't know and immediately you're like, I trust you, or I'll let you watch my kids? Right? Like, very rarely. So it's like you have to understand, like, every post is an opportunity to build and compound trust. Every video, every event, every time you show up on a podcast, like, so you have to let it compound and you can't quit before it becomes obvious on the dashboard. You feel great marketing before you see it on a dashboard. So give yourself the time to, one, be bad at it and not be great, and to start to catch rhythm, and then allow that emotional resonance, build the trust even though you can't see it all the time, and then eventually you'll feel this tipping point where it feels easier than not to be creative, and you know that the content is going to work, right? You might record 10 videos today. We don't know which one's going to be great. Maybe one. But damn, if you have fun doing it, you get one great video, a few good ones, and you keep a couple on the editing floor, like, that is how you build an engine. And I think too is, like, you have to accept that there's going to be some, like, unusable byproduct, or, like, there's going to be waste. But it's not really waste because you're still progressing forward. You know what I mean?
Well, you're pressing forward both in the creating of the content, but, like, even as somebody sitting in the seat of talent, like, you're getting clearer and better at your own delivery.
Yes. Every time we do CEO videos, and I know you see this too, the first one is the worst one.
Yeah.
And I tell them this all the time, like, this will be the worst one you ever do. The good news is next one will be better. And it'll get easier. And then what happens, you're not thinking about it so much. You're, like, excited because you're like, I know what to do. You just gotta chill, get comfortable, kind of know what I'm talking about, let it riff. And I think that's the other thing too that's been really helpful to folks learning is, like, it's okay to have bad takes, and you can actually be less broadcaster and, like, you know, super, like, well, like my you know, the way I talk and the voice is like, no, just, like, people want to know who you really are, how you would really talk. So it's like the way we're doing this, I think, is great. It's like, how would Devin and Rachel really talk about content? You'd be sitting a little further away from each other.
Maybe a little
and you would be in this tone and this style, you know, and this is stuff that resonates. And so you just have to trust that the stuff that you like and resonates with you, it's okay to create that. People will like it.
Cool.
That's a wrap.